Hi everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am here today to share a very simple layout that anybody could reproduce very easily, any scrapbooking level. It's a very simple and quick layout. So I started by cutting off all of the bigger frame from this beautiful paper from Pink Paisley by Paige Evans. So I didn't want to damage the paper, so I just went in with my craft knife and then I fussy cut around them very quickly because I just wanted to use the frame just as if they were a photo frame on my layout. So I'm fussy cutting around them. I'm fast forwarding the video as well, so you don't have to sit through all the fussy cutting. Although it's a very simple, same entry-level fussy cutting, anybody, any level could very easily reproduce that. Then I used this absolutely stunning paper from my Pretty Leo studio. And I play around placing my frames and see where I would go and put my photo. So I just trim my photo and I choose a few embellishments. So it's all coming from the October collection, the October kit from Hip Kit. This is the 5th layout I've created with this kit. I had the main kit and I had the embellishment kit, and it's so generous. The fact that I've not had to limit myself on any embellishment. I've really felt like I could be generous. I didn't feel like I had to hold back on any embellishment, and still I have loads left over, and I currently have another 2 layouts on the go still with this kit. So in total I have easily produced 7 layouts, 7 generous layouts with this kit. So I'm very happy with it. So still playing around, I decided to trim the inside of this little frame in order to frame my photo. So I'm trimming the inside, and now I'm tracing around my photo where I'm going to cut the photo so that it just looks like the photo is framed on my page. It really looks like a photo wall at the end. So I'm mounting that little frame on my photo using a sticky foam pad. So in some places I had to cut the sticky foam pad in 2 so that it doesn't show through, but it's very easy and I do it quite often. And it's all about placing the frame over the photo as cleanly as possible so that the photograph doesn't show on the edges of the frame. So I place it and then I trim around just to really ensure we can't see the photograph. There we go, so I'm happy with that. And I start playing around, placing all those frames. And it's all about going back, adding a few frames, choosing the right one. It's also that I wanted to place it in a way that ensured I didn't have 2 of the same colours or 2 of the same shape too close to each other. So that's why I ended up cutting more frame than I needed, but it's okay because it's just in order to really make sure I've got a placement and an organisation that I really like on my background. And to be fair, I'll end up using them at some point in a future layout, so it's nothing lost. Still playing around, finding a layout that I like. And I was quite happy with that at that time, so I decided to trace lines 2 inches from each side very lightly with a pen. Just a pencil that I could erase later. just to make sure that all my frames were nicely lined up. And then I replace all the frame, more or less fitting within that square. And then I'm not happy with how these two fit. So I looked at my paper and I saw I had another one that looked similar but slightly bigger, and that would replace the two little ovals that were at the top. So there we go, and now I'm happy with that. So I decided to start sticking it all down. So I use sticky foam pads. And I use all the borders that I drew to line up all my frames. So I started with the frames that were the easiest to line up, that had a straight edge, or that were square or rectangular. And like that, all the other ones would line up quite easily around these. Once the first one, the squarer shape I stuck down, it's easier for me to then line up the other frames and make sure that it all look quite good together at an equal distance, just like you would have your photo wall in your house. I just use sticky foam pads so much, just all the time. It's I go through them at such a speed. I love the volume they add to my layout. Yeah, it's one of the bits of stash that I use the most, to be fair. I use that and my glossy accent all the time. I would be lost without them. So finishing to glue everything down. And now I erase all the lines so that we don't see them. Just carefully lifting some of the frames so that I can get the lines underneath. Brush any excess left and start playing with all the embellishments. How cute is that Leo Fox? Seriously cute Leo Fox. So I used some of the chipboard, I used some of the ephemeras, and I decided to use also some of the acetate leaves. At first I had selected some pumpkins, but I decided that I wanted to keep those pumpkins for a layout that I've planned in my head about when we carved our first pumpkin with Sophia. It was my first pumpkin carving as well, so yeah, I think the pumpkins were perfect for that layout I've got in my mind. And now still playing, lining up, layering, creating loads of layer clusters of embellishments, sticking it down, and just so that every single frame has something going on. I just wanted to have something in every single frame, but without taking away from the photograph either. And this kit is absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. So I used the word story because I thought I would talk about me recording a story. So at first I stamped recording your story on some cardstock, as I selected in blue. I used the heat gun to dry it quicker so that I don't end up smudging the ink with my fingers. And I wasn't quite happy with how it looked with the two strips, so I thought maybe it's the colour of it. So I did it again with a pink cardstock, because that background has that pink and all the embellishments have a bit of that pink. So I thought maybe it's just down to the pink and to the fact the blue doesn't work with it. So I started again and I did it on the pink, same again, dry the ink, cut it off, distress the edge. And when I came to place it, I wasn't happy with it again, so I tried the different colours. I tried to maybe is it an embellishment that's missing from making it working, and just couldn't quite get it. And then I decided that, in fact, it was just the fact that I needed just one strip. The blue was perfect. It bringing a little bit of freshness to it. And I decided to add a couple of Leo stickers. So I used the Leo cross. I like the black on that layout because it just cut off a little bit too much of that cuteness. I don't like my layout to be too sickly sweet, and I like to have a little bit of an edge, and sometimes a bit of black is what it needs. Now I'm tracing the line for my journaling. So I'm discussing how since Sophia has been born, it's inspired me to take back on scrapbooking because I had stopped for quite a lot of years. I stopped in 2013 and I've just started again in 2019. So it's been a big 6-year break from scrapbooking, and having my daughters really inspired me to start again and record her story and record our family story. And I've been so inspired since she's arrived in my life. And this is what I wanted to talk about in that layout. So I playing around a bit more, adding the odd little extra details, adding some of the little hearts that came from the kit, and a few splashes of black ink. Same again, it's just to cut off a little bit of that sweetness. Dry it off, and like with every single one of my layout, I add the date the photo was taken. And there you go. So as you can see off camera, I did the odd little bit of doodles with little black crosses and a little bit of a handwritten text, which is very, very rare on my layouts, but I thought that would be important for this one. So here you go, this is my layout. You can reproduce it very easily. You don't need any tools. You don't need anything to reproduce it, just your pair of scissors and some glue. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye.